Considering home security? Consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. The yard sign isn't just a sign, it's a line in the sand. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes. Visit ADT.com to learn more. For license information and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
Good morning. Here we are. We're back and better than ever. Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. A happy Monday to one and all. We've got everything in the world going on. Get a load of this. We've got thrilling football finishes. We have 4 baseball games today. We have a lineman looking to fight fans. We have a coach videotaping the last thing in the world he wants you to see.
Oh, boy.
And we have the vice president taking it up a notch in the debate over the national anthem. Holy smoke, Golick, what a day.
What a day is right. Thank God there was some great stuff on the field that we can actually talk about, because God knows we're going to have to talk about some of that off the field stuff. But on the field, we were treated, whether it was in baseball or football, to some wonderful highlights from some guys that you don't know to guys that will go down as possibly the greatest of all time at their positions.
And some significant losses yesterday as well. It was a brutal NFL injury day. We're going to start with off the top here and buckle your seatbelt because it's going to take a while because there's so much going on. Here we go. We'll start with the baseball. Greg Bird homered in the 7th inning for the Yankees yesterday, and that was all the offense that they needed in a 1-0 win to keep their season alive.
Second player in baseball postseason history to homer in a 1-0 win when facing elimination. The other was Jorge Posada, oddly enough. Also a Yankee. Also did it when the team was trailing 2-0 in the ALDS in 0-1 against the A's. Yankees won that series. They're not going to win this series. Sorry to say that. But
Golick still believes in his Indians.
Let me tell you what a great pitching duel we finally got. You know, we got Tanaka goes 7 innings. Carrasco went into the 6th inning, neither one giving up a run. It was really, really good to see, I thought. You know.
It's been an unbelievable series. I mean, obviously the Friday night game had so much drama. You almost could, it feels like it was 2 years ago now. Right. But, I mean, between everything from the decision not to replay the play and everything else. But one way or another, they leave themselves in a 2-1 situation. Yankees clinging to some life. And I'm sure a lot of Yankee fans who were booing Joe Girardi yesterday are thinking to themselves, we could have been in position to try and win this series. We'll see. Meanwhile, the Red Sox-Astros series has been the least competitive in the history of Major League Baseball by one standard of measure.
Yeah, it really has. It's been ugly. This is the first series in baseball postseason history in which each of the first 3 games was decided by 5 or more runs. And let's give it up to a guy that has to, party at Chuck E. Cheese. Rafael Devers was 2 for 3 with a monster shot home run, 3 RBIs, youngest player with postseason home run in Red Sox history, 20 years, 349 days. So he doesn't have to wait long to finally have that first beer or first drink of his life, right? He doesn't have to wait long, but man, second youngest player in AL history of the postseason home run. Manny Machado was just over 20 years old in 2012 in the ALDS in Game 3.
So both American League teams that were down 2-0 stay alive, which, as I mentioned, leads to 4 games on the baseball postseason schedule today. Should be a lot of fun. Okay, to the football. In a battle of 0-4 teams, the Chargers beat the Giants. So the Giants are 0-5. But, Mike, right now, as crazy as it sounds, that almost feels like the least of their problems.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, they're done. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. goes down, and now a lot of people talked about this guy sometimes with his injuries. Does he embellish him a little bit? I mean,
the second you saw that.
But this one, you knew it. The way his ankle got folded, he had a broken ankle. There was no doubt about that one. He is going to be done for the year already. They were. How quickly did we hear after the game? He was going into surgery. But let's just add to the woes there. Sterling Shepard and Brandon Marshall both leaving the same series with ankle injuries, and then a backup wide receiver in Dwayne Harris breaks his foot.
He's out for the year.
I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on with that receiving core, and they don't run the ball well at all, and they're 0-5. So maybe they were, of the Jets and the Giants, maybe it was the wrong New York team we were talking about that could get the first pick this year.
It's a total disaster, obviously, in every way that it could be for the Giants, but we will spend some time talking about Odell because there are a million different repercussions of that injury for him. And speaking of superstars getting injured, if you didn't stay up late last night, you missed a very impressive Kansas City win over Houston. Don't let the final score fool you. The Chiefs won that game big, even though the final score might not indicate it. But Houston loses J.J. Watt, Mike. He will be gone for the rest of the season.
The tibial plateau fracture. We'll explain more in a bit on that one. Bottom line is, yeah, he is done. You could see the pain that he was in trying to lead the field and put pressure on it, which is exactly, as we'll explain, this injury is the whole deal, is you can't put pressure on it. But this guy from 2011 to 2015 trailed only my former teammate and the greatest defensive lineman I've ever seen, Reggie White, in sacks in that 5-season span. Reggie had 81 and Watt had 74.5. But since then, he's had surgery for a torn groin muscle, a couple of back surgeries, and now this as well. He's played only 3 games last year, didn't have a sack this year, now will miss the rest of the season. So you wonder, for a guy who was in his, 7th year, and what he had done already, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, on pace for an incredible Hall of Fame career. I heard my son bring it up this morning. Is he still, if he's done doing what he's doing, has he played enough to go into the Hall of Fame? We've seen the guys like Terrell Davis, Gale Sayers, who didn't play a long time and still get into the Hall of Fame. But what a shame for what this guy does. And then you add to that Whitney Mercilus, who is a fantastic rusher as well. He is out. He tore a pectoral muscle for a team that is scoring a lot of points in what Deshaun Watson is doing, and they had the number 1 defense last year. These 2 guys are out. These 2 guys have basically, 109 sacks between them since they started playing together in 2012, more than any other teammates out there in that time span. Now both are gone. That really hurts this defense.
Absolutely, and we're being cautioned not to say that Watt is officially out for the season. There are people like Des Bryant, for example, had a similar injury and came back in just 3 weeks. Almost everything I had seen immediately afterwards suggested that he is going to miss the rest of the season. So we'll obviously wait and see. They've not made an official determination on that yet.
I will cautiously say he's out for the season. How about that?
I mean, I turn to you for these things.
Listen, now, I will, if you look up tibial plateau fracture, there are 6 categories of it.
Okay.
So I guess it is smart to wait and see just where we are on that one from 1 to 6 on just how bad it'll be.
There isn't any benefit in rushing into it. They'll let us know.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Obviously, when they have some sense of the severity. Either way, it's a terrible injury.
Yes, it is.
For the Texans. And so 2 superstars amongst the many players who got injured yesterday. And then, as I mentioned, the Chiefs remain the only unbeaten team in the NFL with another really impressive performance against the Texans. The final score is 42-34.
Oh, they were hammering them.
But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Chiefs have won 9 straight road games. I mean, really been impressive what they've done. And I heard them talking before the game, and it was interesting that the 2 first-round picks have had an incredible effect on both these teams. Deshaun Watson, obviously. Watson threw 5 touchdowns. Now, a couple in garbage time when Kansas City was rolling them. But I still think he's throwing pretty well. His completion percentage was not good, 16-31. But then because when they said that, both first-round picks, I thought, wait a minute, Patrick Mahomes was the other one. They said, and Mahomes, the threat of Alex Smith being ousted again, kind of like he was with Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco, is pushing Alex Smith. He's having the best year of his career. In his 13th season, this guy is absolute money right now, and this team is absolute money right now.
He's throwing the ball down the field. Wouldn't it be remarkable if when we get towards the end of the season, the 2 leading MVP candidates, and it's very early for this, but it's not inconceivable, could be Alex Smith and Aaron Rodgers, who were the 2 quarterbacks who came out the same year. Some people liked Rodgers better, including you. Alex Smith winds up going number 1. Rodgers falls all the way down to Green Bay, and the rest is history. Be something else if Alex Smith, 13 years later, winds up winning an MVP award. Right now, he would be a leading candidate for that award. And then finally, Monday Night Football tonight, and it should be an interesting one. The Vikings and the Bears. The Vikings are expecting to have Sam Bradford back playing quarterback, but that's not the quarterback everyone will have their eye on.
No, everyone's going to be looking at Mitchell Trubisky making his first career start. No first-round quarterback has made his first career start on Monday Night Football since Aaron Rodgers in 2008, and no rookie quarterback has done it since Sean King in 1999. So it's Trubisky time in Chicago tonight.
Off the Top.
And that is an elongated but well worth every minute of it version of Off the Top, brought to you by Upside. Now save big on travel. Get a big gift card with every trip you buy. You will love Upside.com. That's Upside.com.
It's just too easy to pull out every old school reference and go Mitchapalooza. I mean, it's just too easy to do, right?
And it's a great day in Chicago. Great sports day. I remember when they first saw the way the National League Series lined up. that there was some concern that the Cubs and Bears would be playing at the same time, but the Cub game goes in the afternoon. So the Cubs at Wrigley Field in the afternoon, the Bears at Soldier Field at night. Crazy day in Chicago. But that's not where we begin. We will begin with the game of the day yesterday, and that was Dallas and Green Bay. And these two teams have now played back-to-back thrillers in that same building. The playoff game last year where Aaron Rodgers leads them from all the way back to win, and then last night or yesterday late in the afternoon where he does the same thing again with a late touchdown pass to Davante Adams that was a thing of beauty.
I mean, that game held so much. You saw the way the Cowboys went down in their first drive, got aided by just – as I tweeted out yesterday, the worst unnecessary roughness call I've ever seen in my life, which actually gave the Cowboys that first touchdown or helped them get it instead of they would have had to kick a field goal, was it not for just the worst call, which we can get into and what they may need to do to kind of change this rule or whatever. It's turning in all honesty, it's turning into soccer a little bit. With the way it went on. Dez Bryant ran a route in the end zone. I'll just say it right now. And Blake Martinez got called for unnecessary roughness. And I mean, grazed Dez Bryant. Never hit him in the helmet. Never hit him with his head. It was the worst. But what happened is Dez laid on the ground for a second. Now I feel like we're playing soccer here. When all of a sudden a guy lays down, acts like he's hurt until the yellow card comes out, and then he gets up and runs back and starts playing again, which is what Dez did. Dez laid there and acted like he was hurt a bit. The ref signals incomplete pass and then throws the flag.
Yep.
It was one of the worst, most embarrassing calls I've ever seen in my life. It was horrific. And that was on third down. The Cowboys would have had to kick a field goal, but they got a first down and they scored a touchdown.
I will admit, watching it live action, I thought the same thing the ref did.
Yep.
And then it was not until the end they called the flag and all this, and then they and by the way, I had Jason Witten yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I was happy.
Were they throwing at him early enough?
Here's another chance. Now they get a new set of downs. But whatever, that's not the point. The point is, I thought I saw the same thing the ref thought he saw. And then when you saw the replay, you realize, okay, it's a terrible call.
And here's what I don't want to do, but I mean, you can't tell me it doesn't cost you.
Of course,
okay?
Yeah, of course.
It costs you. Do we get to the point where when they're going to call a play like that, they have to review it? And then you can waive off the penalty. God knows I don't want any more reviews of everything. But when it's that blatant, there was even a call against the Cowboys later in that game. It was a little more of the head going down, but the rule says forcible contact. There was no forcible contact, and there was a flag against the Cowboys. If you're going to call them, and they can be so detrimental to a defense that you almost have to start reviewing those calls and wiping them out. I mean, you could have reviewed that one for 2 seconds, said, all right, we blew that one. Because I'm with you. The refs are taught to throw it, err on the side of caution.
Right.
And they're seeing it at full speed. So I'm not going to lay this all on the refs, even though it was standing right there. But it is full speed. But, man, that was a horrific call. That said, what a game. What a game. I almost thought to myself at the end, after Dallas throws that pass on second down on their last drive, going, oh, my God, what are you doing stopping the clock here? There was part of me, we have seen Barry Bonds get walked with the bases loaded.
Right.
Mm-hmm. There was part of me, and what was one of the best read option, keep the ball in the belly of the running backs plays you've seen by Dak Prescott, could have walked in the end zone. I swear to you, he was running the end zone. I was sitting in my chair. I'm saying, take a knee at the one.
Right.
Take a knee at the one. Which makes 0 sense. 0 cents to
Except
do.
you can't give the ball back to that guy.
There's a minute and 13 seconds to go, and they got one timeout. And all they need, is a field goal to tie, right?
Correct. Which also, I think, also plays into the way the last drive plays out also, because I think that Dallas did not expect Rodgers to throw the ball in the end zone in a sort of dangerous route that he did, because you've got the field goal in your back pocket.
And before we get to that drive, but that's what I thought. And I thought, you can't do that. You got an easy touchdown. You got to take it, and you got to have your defense stand up and do something here.
Yep.
But that literally crossed my mind, and I said, it makes no sense to do, yet you walk Barry Bonds with the bases loaded. And it makes no sense to do, yet it makes perfect sense. Because you're at the 1 yard line, you got to figure you're going to get in at that point, and how much more time you can burn, or does the Packers have to use, obviously, the timeouts that they have left in this one. But they don't. They score, and I know conventional wisdom says just score it and let your defense do what they got to do. But then Aaron Rodgers, the big key with Aaron, quite honestly, was well, obviously his passing, but then when he ran the ball for the first down, that saved him because they don't make it there. They're going to have to kick the field goal, tie, and go into overtime. But Aaron Rodgers, I mean, who, if you were a Dallas fan, was not ungodly nervous? You cheered how quickly did you cheer when Dak Prescott went in the end zone, and how quickly did your head spin to the clock and go, I wonder if there's too much time on the clock.
Well, I'm going to tie it back to a conversation we had, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, whenever it was that Houston played New England, and we had a similar conversation. The rules change a little bit for these guys. If it's Tom Brady, you don't give him a chance to beat you. If it's Aaron Rodgers, now again, I'm not going to criticize Dak for not taking a knee on the 1 yard line. I get it.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know it does seem crazy.
It is something you almost have to think about. Now again, if they wind up never scoring in that situation, well, now you've blown the game.
I get it. You're not scoring, maybe a fumble. I get it.
You're going to do it.
Yeah.
But I understand your point. You almost have to change the rules with these guys.
Right.
And we had Ryan Clark watching all of this and afterwards saying the following about Aaron Rodgers, maybe the greatest of all time.
He's the best quarterback ever. Because, like, if we did, right, so if we were just putting things we want, characteristics we want in a quarterback, physical traits, right, if you was like, hey, long ball, of all time, you'd rank him in the top 5. Accuracy of all time, you'd rank him in the top 5. Throwing the ball on the run, you'd rank him in the top 5. So as we would go down these quarterbacks and rank their physical attributes, there would be no quarterback that finished with a higher total ranking than Aaron Rodgers. We were just talking about what they can do with the football in their hands on the field.
Tom Brady is going to go down as the most accomplished quarterback of all time, without question. And in a lot of people's mind, the greatest quarterback of all time. But I completely understand and agree with Ryan Clark. When you start talking about the way he can throw, on the move, what he can do, running when he has to, accuracy, throwing on the run, he has all those things on Tom Brady, right? Because Tom Brady doesn't do that. Tom Brady doesn't run. Tom Brady doesn't throw a lot on the run. He just doesn't have to. So do you want to hold that against him? Whatever. But Aaron Rodgers does all that. So overall, you could see, it's just like we talk about with LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Many think LeBron James is a better athlete, can do more physically gifted, and may not be a greater player than Michael Jordan, but the physical gifts that he have, that might be the same argument with Aaron Rodgers, even though some may at the end of this say Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback, not more accomplished, but the quarterback, when you do that question, you got one guy to play quarterback for you, and you can take Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Who do you take? You know, that'll be a question down the line. And you can't lose with either one of them, but that'll be a question.
It's going to sound like a ridiculous statement, but I do believe you could accurately say Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time and Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time. Yeah. And I think you might be right on both counts. And either way, he's certainly ridiculously good and wins a thrilling game yesterday. And listen to these numbers and what the Packers and Rodgers are doing in the fourth quarters. This season, the Packers' scoring differential in the first 3 quarters of games is -1. They've been outscored by 1 point in the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarters, their scoring differential is plus 112. Plus 112. They're obliterating people in the fourth quarters, and yesterday they get a huge win that we may remember towards the end of the season on the road at Dallas. Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance with our compare rates for you, so you get the best deal even if it's not with Progressive, saving you time and money. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today. There may be no more exciting player in the NFL than Aaron Rodgers. If there is one, maybe it's Odell Beckham Jr. Yesterday he goes down, and it's going to be a while before he gets up again. And that's one of those where the second you saw the first replay, you knew he was done for the year.
Yeah, you knew
that's a terrible-looking injury.
And you saw him laying there. Remember, we saw him laying on the ground last week, kind of in a lot of pain on his ankle, and 2 plays later he was back in the game, right? So you were like, okay, But you saw this one. You saw him go down, and then until you saw the replay and you saw that ankle fold underneath, and you said, all right, that's busted ankle. Yeah, I mean, it was.
That looked like one of those where the bone was going to come out.
I mean, it was ugly. It was just absolutely ugly, and he was obviously in a ton of pain. And as I said, how soon after the game with the tweets going out and the people saying he's rolling into surgery already. I mean, it was bad. And remember, this is a guy who was in that Aaron Donald situation, that Zach Martin situation, these situations where they were already guaranteed their next year's salary of $8 million, but you saw Aaron Donald holding out till the season started. He wanted to get that new deal. Zach Martin was working on a new deal, but once at some point they said no more, we'll wait till after the season. But then you cross your fingers for those guys, or they do and their families do, that nothing can cost you that big money. So now you have not only on a wide receiver a lower body injury this bad, that's going to require surgery to put that back together, on what the future may hold and the potential for this big contract. In my eyes, he deserves the big money still, but the Giants have every thought, I'm sure, of, do we wait and see? We got to wait and see how he comes back from this
thing. Is this the sort of injury? It's not nerves. It's not right. It's the kind of thing. It's a bone. It heals. He comes back. He should be the same
It's
guy.
One of those things you put hardware in there. Does it heal up? Should be the same guy. That's the whole thought process, and that's what they're going through. I still think he's going to get his money. Again, he's guaranteed at least $8 million next year, depending on getting the deal done or not. But man, that was a horrible injury for a team. Let's just start looking at the team now. You really have to wonder where they're winning a game, because they were supposed to rely on their defense. Defense ain't doing a whole lot right now, and the offense can't do a whole lot right now.
The Giants are one of 3 teams that are 0-5. The others are the Browns, who last year went 1-15. The Niners, who last year went 2-14. The Giants last year were 11-5. They're a playoff team, as everybody remembers. So there's no bigger disappointment, obviously, in the sport at this point to this season than the Giants, who are hopelessly out of it by being 0-5 anyway. But when you then compound it with these injuries, particularly with Beckham, and as you mentioned, it has enormous implication into his future well beyond the rest of this season. It's just things can't be going any worse.
No worse.
They're going for the Giants right now. We're Mike and Mike. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Jam-packed guest list today all over the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Coming up just when we thought we had seen everything. I myself have never seen a football coach do what one of them did, and I watched the video this morning. We'll try and get to the bottom of this and understand why in the world it happened.
Hey everyone, Mike Golick here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, ADT helps keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home, wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling. ADT. Home. Safe home.
We are Mike and Mike. Buster Olney on the baseball in a half hour. Your Twitter reaction now in the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. The real Jay Long tweets at us. Dez laid on the ground after that play because of embarrassment for dropping the pass. It was a terrible call. I don't disagree. I want to make it clear. I'm not saying I thought it was a good call. I'm saying when I saw it live action, the play takes place. My first thought was, oh, man, he hit him in the head, and then, boom, the flag comes out, and I wasn't surprised. Then when they showed it again, you realized, oh, my goodness, he barely touched
Again, the ref gave the incomplete signal, and then I really think saw Dez laying there, and then threw the flag. You see the ref right behind going incomplete. He sees Dez laying there, and then the flag comes out. And again, I'm with you. It's bang, bang. So you're not sure. You do see Martinez, a linebacker, coming across. You see them and the head of Dez go down. So did he catch him in the head? And you see the replay wasn't anywhere near it. That's why I'm starting to say, man, and I hate to add to it, but they're horrific for a defense. Look what that did. The Cowboys would have had to kick a field goal. They got a first down and scored a touchdown. It happened against the Cowboys a little later in the game on one where the guy did dip his head some, but by the letter of the rule, I don't think he should have been called for it, and was that you almost need to replay these things and just look at it.
You can't do it, though.
I know.
You can't.
You can, but they do it in college. They replay the targeting hits, and
That's
they look at them.
There's going to be an ejection.
Well, I know,
right?
but they still do. You can if you want to. If they're going to make these mistakes And you can't tell me it doesn't cost you a ton, that you have to do something. You can't just say, oh, well, hey, sorry, we're erring on the side of caution. Sorry, it just cost you.
But, I mean, to take the flip side, and I understand what you're saying, but then you could review almost every penalty because there were bad calls of all kinds in the NFL. They missed a defensive holding call yesterday. What game was it that was so blatant that wound up costing a team a game? Absolutely cost a team a game late in the game.
No, I get what you're saying.
But a receiver just grabbed and held in the end zone.
But you don't have to. You can specifically say these unnecessary roughness
just
calls.
The targeting.
Yeah, I mean that's what you can say. I mean you can be that specific with it to not open it up to everything. Listen, I don't want that to happen. I don't. But the refs are in a very tough position if you're not replaying.
But I guess I'm asking you, why would you want those reviewed and not others that could be just as
because I'm with you.
A lot of missed calls can cost the team a game.
There is a line everywhere. You're right. There is a line everywhere, and I'm not one that normally wants guys thrown out of games. You go to college, the call in the Ohio State game was a joke against Maryland. And that's what even is more embarrassing to me in college is you can review it. You review it and you still throw a guy out. That Ohio State hit, I forgot the kid's name, who came up and gave a great shoulder hit on a Maryland player. It was a fantastic play.
But if you make any contact to the helmet, the rule is they're going to throw you out of the game. Two Northwestern kids got thrown out of the game on Saturday for plays that were not dirty, but they're just you hit the kid in the head, it's going to be that's the rule.
I know, and that's why they need to tweak that rule. The rule is ridiculous. It's one of the worst we have to have it reviewed like that and guys still tossed that are now trying. You're actually doing the thing. You're making players think about it. They're lowering their targets. They're trying to do better, and they're still getting tossed out of games. That rule has got to be tweaked some in college. It has to be.
All right, I'll get back to some more tweets as the morning continues, but I needed to get there's so many different things this morning, but this is one of the
stunning.
Listen, we've been doing this a long time. I would have thought we'd seen everything. Yeah. I did not think that we would ever see an active NFL coach, in this case, the offensive line coach of the Miami Dolphins, whose name is Chris Foerster, doing what clearly appears, and I've seen the video. We do not have clearance to run the video, to show you the video, but if you go online, it's the easiest thing in the world to find if you want to. Doing what is quite clearly snorting lines of cocaine on videotaping himself. He was not surreptitiously videotaped. He is doing lines of a white powder. Let's be as clear as we can here. Yeah. There are lines of white powder on a rolled up bill. He is snorting them. He is talking to a camera. He's talking to a woman who subsequently put this on her Facebook page. And he is, among the things he says in the video is, let me do some of this and then I'm going to go to a meeting. Like he's about to walk into a team meeting. Mike, I'm at a loss.
It's unreal.
I don't even know what to say.
This is some of the things he said. Looking at the camera. Hey, I miss you.
Yeah.
Thinking about you.
Yeah.
How about me going to a meeting and doing this before I go? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. You videotape that. Boy, what guys will do to impress a woman?
I mean, he is. And again, smokes. To be clear, he's talking to the camera.
Yes,
he's videotaping.
It's not
himself.
like someone secretly videotaping him doing this. He is talking to the camera. And then obviously he means so much to her. She posted it.
Eventually, yeah. What we don't know is exactly when this video came from. The Dolphins, according to reports I've seen, were as taken aback by this as anybody else.
Oh my God!
ESPN has reached out Sunday night. Foerster will not comment. By the way, the report says that he, with a salary between $2.5 and $3 million, he's one of the highest paid assistants in the NFL, which he most certainly would be. That is a stunningly high salary for an offensive line.
I don't understand it. Now, he's been to 8 different teams. It's his second stint with the Dolphins. He started out with the Vikings in '92. He was promoted to run game coordinator and offensive line coach. Now, I have never heard of a guy in that position. I could be wrong. I see salaries all the time. But a guy who's not the offensive coordinator, he's the run game coordinator and the O-line coach making between $2.5 and $3 million.
Astonishing amount of money.
I've never heard that before.
But that isn't the important part of the story.
No, it is not.
So obviously the Dolphins will do some sort of an investigation. I would imagine the league will do some sort of an investigation. If you have eyes, you can see what happened. So I guess the question is, Mike, what do you do if you're the owner of the Dolphins?
I mean, obviously he's fired.
Fired, right? I mean, there's no suspension.
How is
this?
This
is just immediately jumps to firing.
Looking at a camera, talking about how he misses a woman, and hey, you believe I'm doing this before a meeting? Hey, you don't have a job now. I mean, it's not even a question. No.
I would assume so there's leapfrog suspension and goes directly to firing.
Zero question. Hey, if you need help, man, we'll help you get help, but you don't have a job with the Miami Dolphins anymore. It's not even a question, right? How could it be?
I really don't know. I would assume yes. If indeed they can determine for certain that it took place in the facility, I mean, it would be different. While still,
would it be different out? I mean, if a player was doing that, you think a player wouldn't be cut?
Well, I mean, I think it would depend on the player.
Well,
plus there are very specific drug policies in place. Although he didn't fail a drug test.
Well, listen, there aren't drug policies for coaches. We've seen coaches who get DUIs and things like that get suspended by the league. This guy is on camera snorting a white substance. So even if he doesn't get fired, which I'd be shocked, if he tries to, another team wants to hire him, I would imagine he's going to spend some time away from the game before that even would happen.
I guess.
Right?
He has, to the best of my knowledge, not failed a drug test. He has obviously videotaped himself
doing
the
stupidity test.
Well, listen, he recreated the stupidity test.
Smokes.
He aced to the stupidity test. He got a 1600 on there or whatever the
congratulations,
perfect SAT
you could
is
be
now.
One of the dumbest people we've ever seen in this league.
I don't even know what to say. I mean,
I don't either.
If you haven't seen it and you think that we're exaggerating the overtness of this, you just have to watch it. Again, we don't. It's not cleared, so we're not allowed to show it to you.
It's stunning. I mean, it's like, wait a minute. This is someone knowingly doing this to a camera and speaking to a woman in the camera while he's snorting.
Again, he says, I'm going to go to a team meeting from here. If indeed he's just saying that for whatever reason, if somehow it is determined in the investigation that he's not in the facility, that he's doing this away from the facility on his own time, he's not at work, he's not about to walk into a team meeting, and was just saying that for whatever reason, but is in actuality in his home or some other place. He's on what looks like is it like a pool table or a ping pong, whatever it is. They'll know. The Dolphins will immediately know if that's a place in the building or not.
And if it's
not in the building, is he definitely fired? If he's just saying it, I mean, is he definitely fired?
Oh, I think he's absolutely fired.
I think so, too.
I think he's absolutely fired. And all I can say, too, is if it's not him, he's going to get a lot of apologies from a lot of people.
Well, if it's not him, I mean, it's unless
I know. I
that's
mean,
obviously him.
Yeah, if
it's
seems,
not,
I don't know the man, so it's not like I could have looked at the video.
He's not making any attempt to conceal his identity. He's looking and talking directly into the camera at a couple of different points, almost in sort of a romantic voice. It is a startling happening.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly.
Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and/or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Okay, so it's very important, I think, that when we describe what's going on with the Dolphins offensive line coach, whose name is currently trending, his name is Chris Foerster, in this video, the Dolphins aren't commenting. He himself is not commenting. You can read Shefty has a write-up of it on Twitter, and so do many others. We should point out that if you watch the video, it is only clear that what he is snorting is a white powder, and you see it disappear, multiple lines of it. At no point does he say that it is what we all assume that it is.
Right.
And
I guess
that feels like that feels like a distinction that we should make here, that we don't know it is that for sure, unless there's some kind of pre-workout thing we don't know about that people are using. I mean,
listen, I know workouts have changed over the years.
Right.
I don't think we're there. I don't think we're snorting pre-workout.
Neither do I. And I would also think that, now maybe it's dangerous to assume in circumstances like this, but if there was some incredibly harmless explanation of this, it would have been offered immediately. As soon as the video surfaced, the Dolphins are currently not commenting and are said to be shocked about it. The video, by the way, I'm seeing described by some NFL insiders as not suitable for watching at work, which is unbelievable. I never would have thought we'd have that with an offensive line coach.
It's amazing. To me, the amazing part is it's not like he's in some seedy place where there's a grainy video from a iPhone far away getting it. I mean, he's talking to a camera.
Yeah.
He is talking to a camera while he's doing this, trying to impress some young lady.
It's a really stunning story.
Wow.
As you said, Mike, it's almost impossible to imagine that someone keeps their job after something like this. If somehow it can be shown that he's not at work, I think if he's at work, it's done. There's zero chance that he continues. If it's somehow he can demonstrate that he was not at work, that he was just saying he was walking into a meeting to try and impress the woman, but in actuality he was in his house or some other place like that, and he immediately goes into some sort of treatment. Maybe he winds up just being suspended for some period of time. I don't know, but hard to picture that he survives.
Yeah, that's the thing. At this point, you're walking into your boss right now and saying, I need help, and try and go down that road. And I know there are those bringing up Laramie Tunsil, the offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins, who was taken in the first round, who we all saw it on draft day, plain as day, on the big screen up there. Him with the
bong mask.
Bong mask was another stunning video that was out, and it looks like he's looking right at like he's aware there are cameras there, as he has a bong mask on, and he went the first round. You know, so I'm sure there are going to be those that say, wait a minute, this guy gets caught with a bong mask on, and he's a first-round pick, and he's a starter on their line right now.
He did fall as a result of it. The one thing, there are two different...
Yeah, but he has a job.
Two different. Yeah. Well, there are two different looks at it. One, he didn't have a job at the time that happened. We don't know exactly when it happened. It happened at some point before he was drafted, obviously, because it surfaced the day of the draft. And second of all, I guess there are three differences. Second, he was a young man who might have, mistakes in life excused or explained away far more easily than a person who's worked for 8 NFL teams.
You know what else he is? Not a guy that's been an assistant coach for 8 different teams. He's a first-round quality offensive lineman.
Correct. Another reason why an active player who was involved in something like this, his fate would be determined in large part by how good a player he was.
Without question.
And then the third different piece of this is that a lot of people will just view marijuana and cocaine very differently.
For different things, yes.
Both
in the recreational drug category, but viewed very differently as marijuana, state after state, is making it legal, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon with cocaine.
So one way or another, it is a... I saw Jeff Darlington tweeted, I've been covering the Dolphins a long time. I've never seen anything like this.
I don't even know what to say. Again, it's not seedy video of a guy doing it in a corner somewhere. I mean, he's talking to a camera trying to impress a woman. And she posted it.
And she ultimately posted it. That's the thing. We don't know exactly when he shot it. We don't know any of the details of it. But again, if you haven't seen it, you have to, in order to get a full understanding of just how ridiculous it is, you really need to watch it. It doesn't last long. Yeah. Mike and Mike and Straight Talk Wireless nationwide coverage at America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. A lot of eyes were on Cam Newton this week, obviously, Mike, after what happened last week with the comments he made about the female reporter, or in response to her question, and then the apology. You weren't here Friday. Both Booger and I basically, while there were many people who were questioning his apology, we basically said, you know what? He apologized. It looked sincere to me. He felt like he said what he needed to say. And it felt like time to move past it.
I'm not one of those that breaks down an apology.
Right.
I'm really not. Because, you can say what you want. Most people, let's be honest, most people apologize because they got called out for something. They got caught on something or called out for something, and they have to apologize. I have no idea how sincere he was or was not for those that wanted to break it down. I'm not going to break it down because, as I said, I've heard player after player, because this is what we do in sports, apologize. And all I want to see is actions speak louder than words. How does he act going forward? I see he had the Rosie Riveter.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say. He made a statement both on and off the field. He arrived at the game yesterday with a pin in his hat with an image of Rosie the Riveter from the We Can Do It poster, which was a symbol of feminism during World War II. So an old school thing, but he was trying to make a statement with that.
Yeah, and what did he say about the whole thing? He was trying to be sarcastically funny. I think that was, and it didn't fly, and whatever, trying to give too many reasons for it. Just, you apologize and move on from this. But I am not going to break down an apology. I think that's ridiculous to say, he was sincere, he was not sincere. Let's see how he acts going forward.
Right. And then so that he had by wearing the pin, he made the statement off the field, and then on the field, he played great. And that was one of the things I wondered, would the distraction or the embarrassment of the week, whatever you want to call it, impact his play? He played a great game.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I mean, McCaffrey got more involved in this game. I mean, how I think they wanted him to. Who's the backup tight end? Was it Dixon? Is it Ed Dixon? I mean, taking over for Greg Olsen was a mainstay in this. So, yeah, he played very well.
Yeah, we'll talk more about his performance on the field. We got Buster Olney all over the baseball. We got the vice president getting involved in a big way and more. Stay there. Mike and Mike.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico.
I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.